All right, let's move on to some other news now. And well, a ceremony attended by the Afghanistan's chief executive, Abdullah Abdullah, has come under attack in Kabul, killing 30 people. Now, the former Afghanistan presidential candidate, Abdullah Abdullah, has escaped unharmed, and according to the Ministry of Interior Affairs, over 50 people have been injured. It was not immediately clear who was behind the attack or whether there were any casualties. Now, the Taliban has, however, distanced themselves from this attack. This comes days after the Afghan peace deal was signed. Afghanistan's President Ashraf Ghani has taken to Twitter and has called the attack a crime against humanity. Abdullah Abdullah was the rival to the current President Ashraf Ghani and has been. Earlier this month, Ghani's main rival, Abdullah Abdullah, had denounced the election results, which were delayed after allegations of vote rigging that led to a full-blown political war in the country, with the opposition already rejecting the result. Now, the peace deal signed between the United States and the Taliban doesn't seem to have improved the political deadlock in Afghanistan. In fact, the deal signed between the United States and Taliban, as well as the one signed with the Afghan government, has come under the scanner and seems to have many discrepancies. On February 29th, the United States signed two deals, one in Kabul with the Afghan government and one in Doha with the Taliban. While the peace deal signing gave the world hope of the war in Afghanistan finally coming to an end and peace prevailing in the war-torn country, now it seems like just optics. The only agenda of the signing was that the United States wanted to get out of the country as soon as possible. The deals signed by the United States with these two parties do not correspond. While the agreement with the Taliban says that 5,000 Taliban and 1,000 Afghan prisoners will be exchanged by March 10th, immediately after the signing, the Afghan President Ashraf Ghani made a statement saying that the Afghan government had made no such commitment to free Taliban prisoners. Reacting to this contention, the Taliban took the position that they would not engage in dialogue with the Afghan government as per agreement unless the Afghan government honored the commitment given by the US in the signed deal. The stalemate on the issue has spurred a string of attacks on the Afghan security forces by the Taliban, in which at least 20 Afghan soldiers and policemen are reported to have been killed. This happened shortly after the US President Donald Trump stated that he had a very good chat with the political chief of the Taliban. The United States also launched an airstrike against the Taliban, which, according to a tweet by the spokesperson of the U.S. forces, targeted the Taliban fighters attacking Afghan forces. The U.S. has tried to downplay these occurrences and maintains that the Taliban are sticking to the agreement and the peace accord has not been compromised. The United States, in its agreement with the Taliban, has mentioned lifting current U.S. and United Nations sanctions and rewards list on the members of the Taliban. Right, and joining us now to talk a little bit more about what's happening in Afghanistan post, the peace deal, is Mustafa Kazemi, our correspondent. And Mustafa, thanks for talking to us this evening. Now, it seems almost that the United States just wanted to get out of Afghanistan. The peace deal has so many discrepancies, but let's first talk a little bit about what's happened with Abdullah Abdullah. Do we know who's claimed responsibility for this attack, even as the peace in Afghanistan remains extremely fragile?
So far, no terrorist group among the 20 that are fighting the Afghan government have not claimed responsibility for the attack, although political and military analysts at the beginning thought that the Taliban might claim credit for this attack. But after a few hours, to be exact 6 hours after the attack was ended on this commemoration ceremony of Abdullah Ali Mazari, who was a former jihadi commander in Afghanistan, no group claimed credit, and the Taliban sent a WhatsApp message to journalists saying that they are not behind this attack and they have nothing to do about it. The Interior Ministry of Afghanistan confirmed the death toll, as well as the Health Ministry at the last minute, saying that 32 people were killed as a result of this attack, which included 5 women and over 50 people, to be exact 58 were wounded. That included a child and 8 other women as a result of this attack. The attack was launched by 2 insurgents from a high-rise building close by the ceremony event place and the police and other forces took about 6 hours to kill both of the attackers and put an end to the siege.
Right, Mustafa. Well, thanks very much indeed for joining us with the details of what happened during that attack. A fragmented Kabul leadership obviously not being able to negotiate with the Taliban, as the US has wrested power back to the Taliban and the Afghan government.